Okay, so now that we know how to multiply, it's on to division. But recall, for division, what we do when we're dividing two fractions is we keep that first fraction alone, and then we multiply by the reciprocal of that second fraction. So we're basically back to multiplication. So how do we multiply? Well, from the last video, it's just numerator to numerator and denominator to denominator. And then the next idea is to factor. So 15 factors into 3 times 5. X plus 2 is already factored. 12, well, that's 3 times 4. And then we can pull an x out of there and get x plus 2. And so looking around, I can definitely see some common factors of 3. I can see a common factor of x plus 2. So our final answer for the first one is basically 5 over 4x. So nothing more to do there. So again, just multiplication of reciprocal, and then we're back to multiplication. We need to simplify by factoring, divide out common factors, all done. So next example, we're going to leave that first fraction alone. Division is the multiplication of a reciprocal. So there we go. Multiplication, well, that's top to top and bottom to bottom. And then we're going to simplify by factoring like crazy. So we factor the top. X is already factored. That trinomial, again, I'm a guesser and a checker. You ACers will take a little bit longer, but you'll get there. And I believe it's x plus 3 and x minus 2 will do the trick there, right? So first times first is first. Last times last is last. 3x, yeah. All right, that's a difference of squares. So we have an x plus 4, an x minus 4. And this guy right here, I think we can factor out an x and get x minus 4. So when we look at this, the only common factor I can see is x. So not much I can do there. So our final answer, we've got x plus 3 and x minus 2 in the denominator. And then if you want, right, we have x plus 4. And then notice that that factor comes up a couple times. So you can either list it twice, or you can write it in its factored form. And again, I don't care if you remultiply that out together. I prefer you actually just leave it in its factored form. You'll learn in the Math 150 that's actually a very advantageous situation. I can see a lot of graph information from that, but you'll see that in another class. So again, division is a multiplication by reciprocal. We multiply top to top, bottom to bottom, and then we simplify by factoring, and then just leave it in its final factored form. So next division problem, again, I'm trying to trick you here, right? We're dividing by 2x plus 1, but technically speaking, right, that is a fraction, right? So we got that. So multiplication is performed by multiplying by a reciprocal, all right? And then multiplication is tops to tops. So this times 1 is just itself, and denominators to denominators. So we're left with that. Now we just have to factor to simplify. So on the bottom, that's a nice difference of squares situation. And on the top, we have to either AC it, or we can guess and check. And again, you guys know I'm a guesser and a checker. And I believe the right combination we need here will be that. Right? So first times first is first. Last times last is last. Positive x, negative 10x gives us the negative 9x. So we got it. So everything's nice and factored. We're looking around for common factors. So 2x plus 1 is common. X minus 5 is common. And so we're left with 1 in the numerator. And we still have x plus 5 in the denominator. So we're all done. So again, multiply by reciprocal. Right? Factor, factor, factor. Divide out common factors. Leave it alone. So we're all solid. So last division problem, we're dividing. So division turns into the multiplication of a reciprocal. And then tops to tops and bottoms to bottoms. And then it's all about factoring. Right here we get 5. We can factor a 2 out of there. So we get 2, and I think that would be 3 minus x. And then 15 is 3 times 5, and then we have x minus 3. Okay, clearly the 5s are common. And then there's that little idea, right? 3 minus x and x minus 3, right, they're not the same, but they're off by a negative 1. So when I divide that out, right, what's left is a negative 1. So I have 2 times negative 1 in the numerator, and it looks like I have 3 left in the denominator, and so that would be our final answer for that guy. So division is a multiplication of a reciprocal, right? We multiply tops to tops, bottoms to bottoms, factor, 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 and then that old trick when we have an opposite. 3 minus x, x minus 3 are technically opposites. So they do divide out, but rather than dividing out and being 1, like over here, they divide out leaving negative 1. So there's your division. So multiplication to division is covered. So it's on to the next section where we talk about addition and subtraction. See you guys then.